Hello friends, welcome back to the kitchen. If you're new here, I'm Rebecca, and today we're in the kitchen making simple Christmas recipes that aren't cookies. All of these recipes are perfect when you want something sweet to bring to your holiday parties. They're perfect for adding something fun and delicious to your holiday dessert table or into Christmas cookie tins. All of these recipes are super simple, crowd pleasers, and they're absolutely packed with holiday flavor. So let's get into the kitchen. First up, we're getting into some holiday fudge. This is a recipe that always disappears fast. It's creamy, smooth, and perfectly sweet. It comes together super quickly and easily, and it's great for adding to any Christmas cookie tins. You can also customize it by mixing in things like mini marshmallows, crushed candy canes, or festive sprinkles.
For this easy Christmas fudge, the first thing I'm going to do is line my pan with parchment paper. I'm just putting a little bit of butter on the bottom first to help it stay in place. This is going to help me get the fudge out easily and cut it into servings. Now in a sauce pot over medium-low heat, stir and melt together 2 cans of sweetened condensed milk with 2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I'm going to flavor this with 1 teaspoon of peppermint extract, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and a half teaspoon of salt. I'm also going to cut 8 ounces of unsweetened baker's chocolate into small pieces. This is going to help it melt quickly in the mixture. And the unsweetened chocolate is going to help the fudge not be overly sweet. Stir this occasionally over the heat until the mixture is melted and smooth. As soon as it's ready, pour the chocolate directly into the lined pan. It will start to set up quite quickly, so I'm going to immediately sprinkle on top my festive sprinkles. You could also use crushed candy canes for this or your favorite decoration. Or you can leave your fudge just as it is. I'm just going to set this aside on the counter for 1 to 2 hours or until the fudge is firm enough to slice. You can speed up this process by placing it in the fridge. But since I like my fudge to be on the softer side, I'm going to leave it on the counter. And as soon as the fudge is set, I'm just going to pull on the corners of the parchment paper to remove it from the pan. I'm going to slice mine into little bite-sized cubes. These are perfect for adding to Christmas cookie tins or festive dessert platters. And it's the perfect rich dessert to give you a contrast from all those Christmas cookies that you've been baking. And since it comes together so quickly and easily, it's perfect for last-minute events or last-minute Christmas gift ideas.
Next up, we're making mini raspberry tarts. These might be the cutest little handheld treats, and they're perfectly festive with their ruby red pop of color.
These mini raspberry pies are so quick and easy to make, especially if you're using store-bought pie dough. To make the simple raspberry filling, in a medium sauce pot over medium heat, add in 2 400-gram bags of frozen raspberries. I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 1.5 cups of brown sugar. Stir this over the heat until it starts to thicken. Once you see the little bubbles from it starting to simmer and thicken, you can remove it from the heat. Then stir in 1 tablespoon of butter. I'm just going to set this aside to cool while I prepare the tart shells. If you already have mini tart pans, this is perfect for this recipe. If not, you could also use muffin tins, or even cuter still, you can use mason jar lids. Roll out the pie dough and then cut little discs of dough. Shape the dough to the inside of either the muffin tins, tart tins, or your mason jar lids. If you want to add a pie crust topper or even little decorations of pie crust on top, make sure to cut these out now as well. I'm going to pierce the bottom of a fork into the bottom of each tart shell. Then spoon in the cooked raspberry filling. Top each tart shell with any dough that you want for the crust. I'm going to brush the top of mine with a little bit of heavy cream, but you can also use an egg wash for this. Then to the top of each tart shell, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of granulated sugar. This is going to give each crust a delicately crisp, caramelized topping. And my tarts are ready right away to go into my preheated 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 180 degrees Celsius oven and bake for 20 to 30 minutes, or until the top is baked and lightly browned. Larger tarts will require closer to the 30-minute mark, whereas the small muffin tin tarts will take about 20 minutes. Allow the tarts to cool and then you can remove them from the tins. These tarts are the perfect bright pop of color to add to any festive dessert tray. They're a fun, festive, and whimsical handheld dessert.
Next up, we have some gingerbread cupcakes. If you're a fan of classic gingerbread cookies, then you have to try these gingerbread cupcakes. They're soft, warm, and packed with all the spices. Top these with cream cheese icing and a few festive decorations. They're basically everything you love about Christmas in a little cupcake form. Perfect for holiday parties, bringing to potlucks, or serving Christmas Eve dessert. Plus, your house is going to smell amazing with this cozy bake.
I'm going to start this recipe with the cupcake batter. For the dry ingredients, in a bowl, whisk together 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And for my warm gingerbread spices, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of ground clove. Whisk this until everything is evenly distributed, and then you can set it aside. Now in a large bowl, cream together 1/2 cup of softened butter with 1/2 cup of white sugar. Once it's light and creamy, I'm going to beat in 2 eggs, one at a time, and scrape down the bottom and sides of the bowl after each addition. And to give my cupcakes that dark brown gingerbread color, I'm going to add in 1 cup of fancy or light molasses. Mix in 1 cup of hot water until everything is well combined. Now on low, I'm going to mix in the dry ingredients. Once the mixture is smooth, I'm going to scoop the batter into my prepared muffin cups. I'm using a mixture of regular sized muffin cups and mini muffin cups today. Fill them until the liners are about 3/4 of the way full. And they're ready to bake in my preheated 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius oven, and bake for 15 minutes or until a toothpick inserted into the center comes out clean. Then set the cupcakes aside to cool completely before adding any icing or decorations. And my favorite icing to use for gingerbread is cream cheese icing. Beat together 1/4 cup of softened butter with 1 8-ounce brick of soft cream cheese. Once smooth, I'm going to add in 3 cups of icing sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of orange extract, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix this on low until all the dry ingredients are incorporated, then increase the speed and beat until you have a thick, fluffy icing. Spread this creamy icing onto your cooled cupcakes, or use a piping bag to decorate. Then garnish the top of each one with any festive decorations. I'm using some gingerbread themed sprinkles, mini gingerbread man, pomegranate, and little pieces of evergreen. Each bite of these Christmas cupcakes burst with that nostalgic gingerbread flavor. They're perfect for holiday entertaining, Christmas baking, and giving to friends and family. This holiday dessert looks fun and festive, but it's so quick and easy to make.
Next up, we have rich and dreamy mint chocolate truffles. These literally come together in just a few minutes. All we have to do is melt the chocolate along with some mint and a can of sweetened condensed milk.
For this recipe, in a large saucepan over medium-low heat, melt 1 can of sweetened condensed milk with 3 packages of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I'm going to flavor this with 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Mix this until everything is melted and smooth. It will be quite a thick mixture. Set this aside and then allow it to set up and cool slightly, just until it's cool enough to handle and roll into truffles. Now, using about a tablespoon of chocolate, shape it into a ball. Then roll each ball into your coating of choice. Some classic choices are cocoa powder, powdered sugar, sprinkles, or toasted coconut. I'm using cocoa here today. I love the addition of the deep, rich chocolate flavor without it adding any added sweetness to the already sweet chocolate truffles. And before adding them into any Christmas cookie tins or dessert platters, place each one into a mini muffin liner.
Next up, we're going to turn the classic pumpkin pie into a handheld treat. These are pumpkin pie dessert squares.
To start this recipe, I'm going to prepare the pumpkin square crust. In a large bowl, mix together 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and a pinch of salt. I'm going to work in a 1/2 cup of cold cubed butter into the dry ingredients. You can either use your fingertips for this, or you can use a pastry blender until you have a dry, crumbly mixture. Press this into the bottom of a greased and lined 8 by 8 inch square pan. Then I'm going to bake the crust in my preheated 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius oven for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, for my filling, in a bowl I'm going to mix 3/4 of a cup of milk, 2 eggs, 1 1/2 cups of pumpkin puree. Season this with a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove, and a 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. Mix the filling until everything is well incorporated. Then all I need to do is pour the filling onto the baked bottom crust. And it's ready to go right away into my preheated oven for 45 minutes, or until the filling is set. Remove this from the oven and allow it to cool to room temperature before slicing and serving. Slice these into little bite-sized squares, and then garnish the top of each with a little dollop of whipped cream and a dusting of cinnamon. This easy recipe takes everything you love about pumpkin pie and turns it into a quick and easy handheld dessert bar.
And finally, I'm whipping up a batch of mint chocolate dessert bars. If you're a fan of mint, then these bars are a must bake. They have a buttery base, a creamy filling, and a rich chocolate top. This is a foolproof recipe and is perfect for Christmas dessert bars.
To start this recipe, I'm going to make the rich mint chocolate base. In a saucepot over medium-low heat, melt 1/4 cup of butter along with 1 200-gram bag of mint chocolate chips. Now, I didn't have any mint chocolate chips left, so I'm going to be adding some mint extract to a bag of chocolate chips. Stir in a 1/4 cup of cream, and when everything is melted, you can add in a 1/2 cup of shredded coconut and 1 1/2 cups of graham cracker crumbs. Then I'm going to press this base into a lined 8-inch square dish. Now I'm going to place this first layer into the refrigerator to chill. Meanwhile, in a bowl, I'm going to cream together a 1/2 cup of softened butter with 3 cups of icing sugar. Beat in 2 tablespoons of cream, 1 teaspoon of mint extract, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add a few drops of green food coloring to mine, but this step is optional. Beat this together until you have a thick, light, creamy mixture. And this is now ready to get spread on top of the base. Make sure to spread it out all the way to the sides and corners of the pan. And once again, place it back into the fridge to chill. Meanwhile, we're going to get started on the final layer. Melt together 1 1/2 cups of semi-sweet or dark chocolate chips with a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. You can either do this on the stovetop or in the microwave. Stir this together until you have a thick, smooth ganache. And this is ready to spread on top of my rich mint chocolate squares. And once again, make sure to spread it all the way out to the corners and sides of the pan. And this is going to go back into the fridge to chill for at least 2 hours. Once all the layers are set, they're ready to remove and slice into little bite-sized dessert bars. These dessert bars are super rich, thick, and packed with an intense mint flavor. They're the perfect special treat for the holidays, especially with that bright green pop of color. These little mint bars always make the list when it comes to holiday baking. They're super quick and easy to make, and better yet, they're no bake.
And that's it, all my favorite fun and festive treats that aren't cookies. So if you're feeling a little cookied out or just want a little variety, these treats are going to be total crowd pleasers.
Enjoy! If you're a fan of deliciously simple vintage recipes and old-fashioned skills, then you'll want to check out this next video. Thanks for stopping by.
If you want any of the printable recipes or any step-by-step instructions, check the links in the description box below. Thanks for coming along with me today. I'll see you in the next festive recipe. Happy holidays!